Hi there. Thanks for being here. Maybe some other people will trickle in. So, today we are going to explore a new form to me called the Cradle-Magnolia. It consists of 12. If you want, you can Google it. You can, if you just Google Cradle-Magnolia and then poem, you'll find it. And like I said, consists of 12 lines that continuously shorten. And then when they get to the center, then they ask two questions. And then remove, yes, continue. Okay. And then after those two questions, the lines lengthen back out. And there needs to be a reference to or engagement with something revealed in a dream. Very interesting. So I thought, I'm gonna do something new for me and explore something I had never heard of until recently. And so I'm just gonna dive right in. There we go. All right, I'll pull this up. Okay, so like I try to do with any poem that has a certain structure, just to remember it, I'm going to make a little reminder to me that my lines have to get shorter and shorter, and then these two lines here need to be two questions. So let's see, there would be five lines. Then this would be 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 after it. Okay. So interestingly, or maybe not interestingly, I'm gonna switch back my camera for a second. Um, so last night, um, I woke up to like fighting my husband in bed because I was dreaming that I was holding our son and somebody was trying to take him out of my arms. And I don't remember the context of the dream or why someone was trying to like wrestle him out of my arms, but I was like fighting this person. And so I ended up waking up and I was like swatting at and clawing at and like being all wild to my unsuspecting husband who was just innocently sleeping there. So I'm going to use that, I think, as my inspiration, or, that's my most recent dream. So we'll see if I can create a reference to or engagement with that in the poem. All right, 12 lines, lines that start long, steadily shorten to cradle two questions in the middle. I'm wondering even if I want to ask the questions um, beforehand, so then I have a goal of what I need to get to. Like maybe I want to ask what is worth fighting for? What is worth fighting for? What might be the second question that I want to ask? This isn't necessarily how you have to go about it. Maybe your questions would reveal themselves to you if you started at the top and worked your way down. I'm just gonna give this a shot and see what ends up happening. What is worth fighting for? Um, Maybe I'll ask who is worth fighting for. Okay, those are my two short questions. And I need to get there. Um, so maybe I'll start talking about my dream and see what ends up happening. Um, uh, the The shadowed figure um, digs um, digs its I want to say like sharp, but I feel like that's too easy a word. The shadowed figure digs its sharp fingers between my um maybe in the crook. That's a good enjambment right there. In the crook of my elbow. Hmm. Let's see. I'm thinking it's like pulling, maybe prying, prying my um, strained limbs from my son's hmm, 12-month young body as if trying, oh, I like that internal rhyme, prying and trying, prying my strained limbs from my son's 12-month young body as if trying to rid a garden. I'm running out of lines here, so I'm gonna give myself a reminder here. 2, 3, and then 4, 5. It leads to maybe because I need to shorten these strained limbs from, and maybe I'll put my son's here. 12-month young body as if trying to rid a garden of its uh, most stubborn summer dandelions. From their root. Hmm. Maybe I need to have a smaller, shorter weed here to rid maybe I'll add flower garden. Hmm, to rid a rose garden of its most stubborn summer dandelions from their root. What is worth fighting for? Who is worth fighting for? Then I'll reveal that now it was a dream. So then I'm going to give myself a little reminder. 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, summer dandelions from their root. What is worth fighting for? Who is worth fighting for? Um, I wake to my own claws. Um, wrestling. I don't know. I'll come back and visit that word. Wrestling my innocent husband, interrupting his dreams of jungles and far away lands in far away lands. Um, my apologies sound like a ghost's. My apologies sound like a ghost. Um, as I rush to the nursery. Um, okay, I don't know. The shadowed figure digs its sharp fingers in the crook of my elbow, prying my strained limbs from my son's 12-month young body as if trying to rid a rose garden of its most stubborn summer dandelions from their root. What is worth fighting for? Who is worth fighting for? I wake to my own claws. What do I want to put there? And also sharp. Shadowed figure digs its um what's sharp? It's bee sting fingers. It's um needle fingers. It's I don't know. Do you guys have ideas? What's sharp that I could is this blurry? Is that better? I don't know. Um the shadow finger digs its trowel, like, making reference to the garden, trowel fingers in the crook of my elbow, prying my strained limbs from my son's 12-month young body, as if trying to rid a rose garden of its most stubborn summer dandelions from their root. What is worth fighting for? Who is worth fighting for? Um, maybe I want to ask different questions. Maybe, why me? Why my son? Maybe. We'll see. I wake to my own claws. I wake to the feeling of my own claws uh, burrowing into, we'll put this, my innocent husband. Okay, we'll see how this turns out on the page if it ends up being uh, his dreams. Okay, I'm gonna take this out and then not have these cross outs and see how it ends up looking on the page. Okay, the shadowed figure digs its trowel fingers in the crook of my elbow, prying my strained limbs. Okay. Limbs. I'm going to put from back here, from my son's 12. Oh, I have to shorten it. Okay, from my son's, maybe just small. Maybe it doesn't matter how big he is. He could be a teenager and I could still be holding on to him as if trying to rid a rose, maybe just garden of its most, okay, we're shortening and shortening. Stubborn weeds from the root. Okay. To rid a garden of its most stubborn. Hmm. Okay. Maybe I do put from here just for the sake of my son's body, as if trying to rid. My son's body is trying to rid a garden of its most stubborn. Okay, and then I'll just put dandelions, not summer. Dandelions from their root. Okay. Why? I'll put my son. Why my son? Why his mother? Oh, no. Why? I guess I'll just put me. Why me? That doesn't sound rhythmic though. Why my son? Why his mom? I'll just put his mom. Why his mom? Okay, then I wake to the feeling. We're starting to lengthen again of my own claws burrowing into my innocent husband, interrupting his dreams of jungles in far away lands. This might turn out differently once I put it on the computer too. My apologies. Sound like a ghost as I rush, not past tense, rush to the nursery. Listen for his breath. Okay. Did I do it? Okay. I think this is what I'm gonna go with for, this first draft. The shadowed figure digs its trowel fingers in the crook of my elbow, prying my strained limbs from my son's body as if trying to rid a garden of its most stubborn dandelions from their root. Why my son? Why his mom? I wake to the feeling of my own claws burrowing into my innocent husband, interrupting his dreams of jungles in, in faraway lands. My apologies sound like a ghost as I rush to the nursery. Listen for, listen for breath. All right. That's, I think that's all, folks. What did, what do you think? And do you have any questions about this form or anything else? Okay. Well, uh, reminders that at the end of May, we have James Coates coming in to do a form that he invented called the Four Kings. And then Ginger Ayla, who's going to be doing a centum, a form that she invented, which is a hybrid of a cento and a pantoum together. And then at some point, Connie, this is for you. So I have this new poetry friend, Martheus Perkins. You may, if you are following me on Instagram, then you probably saw my intense video just praising his poetry collection that's coming out in July. It is excellent. And guess what? In that collection, he has a triptych. So I messaged him and said, "Hey, would you be interested in being a guest on my show and demonstrating your process of writing a triptych?" And he said yes, but we haven't set up a date yet. So it is forthcoming sometime before the end of June. So I'm not sure if that's going to be after Ginger's workshop on June 1st or if it's going to be before James's workshop on May 25th. But it is forthcoming, and I am so excited to have him as a special guest. Okay, that's all I have today, and that was actually a pretty straightforward farm. And um, yeah, I look forward to learning if any of you end up writing one. So, oh, I forgot to mention that this form is invented by Patrycja Humien curses. I hate when I do this. Humienik. I just hold on. I want to make sure that I have it. Patrycja Humienik. I'm not sure if that's a correct pronunciation. Of her name, but you can look it up and read her example of one. And then you can also send your example to her if you end up writing one. So uh, happy poeting, and thank you so much for joining me here today. We'll see you next week. Bye.